What's going on, WKRB? I am your host, Jaiden. This is officially Couch Potatoes 1154 here in Brooklyn, Kingsborough Community College. We got a lot to get into, guys. So much. I'm so excited. We have Super Bowl this Sunday. So excited. Eagles, Chiefs. We're going to talk about that later. We got trade deadline ending today at 3 o'clock. We're going to be on everything. Guys, we got a lot to get into. But let's start because I haven't been here all week, and we have so much to catch up on. Listen. Let's start the obvious place where we got to start at, in the NBA. The Lakers and the Mavericks might have just pulled off the most surprising trade in NBA history. Seriously, the most surprising trade in the history of the NBA. Luka Doncic, the 25-year-old, five-time first All-NBA, five-time All-Star, the scoring champion, the guy that went to the finals last year, is going to LA to play with LeBron James. Guys, the full trade was Doncic. They had Maxi Kleber in that trade, and Anthony Davis from the Lakers goes to Dallas with Max Christie and a pick, one first-round pick. I don't even know where to begin. But let's just begin where my problem is with this trade. Because when you look at it in totality, you can say that both sides can benefit. But it still doesn't fix how stupid this trade is for the Dallas Mavericks. It doesn't fix that for me. The Dallas Mavericks had a 25-year-old superstar, a generational talent, a guy that you don't find. He was one of those guys that was the Jordan and LeBron those guys, one of those people that you generational talents that you rarely find. Luka has probably had one of the best starts to his career in sports as far as his production. Luka is ultra talented, one of the best playmakers in the game. He'll give you 30, 35, 40. He has the moxie to his game. He's confident. In the playoffs, he gets even better. He has so many great playoff moments and this guy is elite. He's elite in every way possible. Easily a top 5 player. I think when he's healthy, he's no worse than 3. Luka Doncic is one of those guys that he should be an untouchable commodity. This guy, when you have him on your team, you build around him for the next 10 years plus. That's how special he is. He took your team to the finals last year. He knocks off Oklahoma City Thunder with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was amazing this year, but was just as good. Well, he's a little bit better this year. We're going to be real. SJ is coming different this year. I think he has the MVP locked up already. But last year, he was no joke. He knocks him off. He knocks off the Timberwolves with Edwards and Towns and Gobert. He knocks them off. He goes to the NBA Finals and pushes Dallas, even with his injury, and he fouled out in the game as well. Dallas was always going to be favored in that series. But the guy that took your team to the finals last year, you trade him? Now listen, the Dallas Mavericks' reasoning for trading him, they feel that he was going to get a contract extension for over $350 million. A boatload of money, generational wealth. But they felt he was out of shape. They felt like he should be around 230, 35 pounds, and he was pushing 260, 270. They feel like his conditioning was never the way it was supposed to be. They felt like no one could really tell him anything what to do. He was that guy that didn't want to take criticism. And they felt as if they did not want to make that investment in him for the Mavs' long-term future. I don't know. I've never disagreed with something more. Like, I honestly, if I'm Nico Harrison, the Mavericks GM, Luka could be 300 pounds. Luka could get away with. Listen, I understand for your brand, you want a standard, and you want no one to be above the standard. But when you have a guy like Luka Doncic, you don't move him, especially not for Anthony Davis is great. He's a top 10 player. You don't move him. He's 31 years old. You don't move him for a 31-year-old that can't stay healthy. Anthony Davis, there's a reason they call him day-to-day Davis. No joke. No joke. And Davis has shown improvement when he's on the court. He's elite. He's one of the best, if not a top 3-4 defender in the league. He'll probably go down as an all-time defender. And offensively, he can give you 25 a night, if not more. But he's not Luka. There's very few people that are Luka to his level and have his youth, and you can build around him for 5, 10 plus years. Nico Harrison came out and said, I believe defense wins championships. And I'm not going to lie. Luka is a pretty bad defender. We're not going to act like he's not. He got picked on the whole Boston Celtics series. They knew he wasn't going to guard and sit down and guard for a whole entire series, and they picked on him, and that's a big reason why Boston was able to walk away with that championship, because they knew defensively he's not someone to worry about. And I understand defense does win championships, but you also need a guy that is going to take you there. And I know Kyrie's special. I know Davis is special. Do you really believe they're going to be better off without Luka Doncic? Do you really believe that? You don't trade the 25-year-old superstar who's already been to 5 all NBA first teams, 5 All-Star appearances, who already went to the finals at the age of 25. You don't do that. He has the 3rd highest points per game average at almost 29 a game. In the playoffs, he's number 2. To Jordan, the only person that averaged more points than him in the playoffs is Michael Jordan. That's the guy you moved on from. And I'm telling you, I understand. You guys say he was overweight. He wasn't taking his condition seriously. He was still good enough to give everybody 30, 35 with 10 assists and 10 rebounds. He was still good enough to do that. He's still good enough to be first team All-NBA, out of shape or not. This isn't a James Harden situation where you saw he was out of shape and his game was affected by it. Or a Zion situation where he's out of shape, he's always off the court. Luka plays games. Luka doesn't miss many. He plays the majority of his games. Yes, he was a little hampered this year with the injury that he's had this year. But that means you trade him? I'm telling you guys right now, Luka could have been pushing 280, 290. Luka, I could have caught Luka smoking something in the back. Luka would have stayed on my team. You don't trade your 25-year-old generational talent. You don't do it. You just don't. Not to the Lakers. Not in the Western Conference. Really? Listen, the Dallas Mavericks, you pick up AD, you still have Kyrie. Klay Thompson is older, but he's still a knockdown three-point shooter, better than most of the league on his worst day. Now Davis is there. They still got the 2 bigs. Davis gets to play his natural position now, who he's always wanted to play the 4. He always had problems with playing the 5 in LA. Now he gets to play the 4 with Gafford and Lively over there playing the 5 for him. He's at his natural position. You know, they still got P.J. Washington. They picked up Martin in a trade from the Philly and traded Grimes away. But the Dallas roster still looks good. They still look like they can make some noise. They're not going to be no easy out. But future, Dallas, Luka would have signed that contract to extend him for 4 or 5 years, $350 million, and he would have been in the Dallas Mavericks for life. A Dallas Maverick for life. He would have been that. Can you say that about Davis? Can you say that about Irving? Or any of those two gonna ever be as talented or as elite as Luka is? And that's no shot to Kyrie or Davis. Both champions. But Luka's a different animal. He's one of those guys you don't, if you ask for a trade for Luka Doncic, you hang up the phone. That's what you do. He's one of those guys. I want to trade for Luka Doncic. That's what it is. You hang up the phone. He's one of those people. You don't move him because this guy is special and generational and does not come very often to any team. This is a fact. The guy took you to the finals last year. You're heading in the right direction. But this is not the first star the Mavs has blown. I've been thought the Mavericks were foolish to get rid of Porzingis. I understand Porzingis had health problems. I get you. I understand. And I understand you might have thought, hey, we can get someone healthier to go play with Luka. That's fair. Look what he's doing in Boston. Look what he's doing in Boston. If you were so worried about his health, put more pieces around Luka. So if Porzingis does have an injury problem, when he does come back and produces, that's just more that you would have. Look at what Porzingis did to Dallas in that finals. You see that game one? Did you see it? Look at Jalen Brunson. They didn't want to pay him. Now he's the best player in the Knicks, who's a legitimate Eastern Conference Finals team. The Knicks with Towns and Brunson and Bridges and OG Anunoby and McBride off that whole team with Thibodeau leading that group. That whole team is a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. More than the Bucks. Outside of Boston and Cleveland, it's the Knicks. And that's led by Jalen Brunson. Did you see what he did against Philly last year in the playoffs? Jalen Brunson is an elite player. Dallas let him go. Now, that you could argue Jalen Brunson would have never reached the potential with Dallas with Luka holding the ball. But at the end of the day, that's an elite talent that you did not give a chance to flourish in your team. And now you move off of Luka Doncic. I promise you, with this move, they don't beat the Thunder. I promise you, if the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks, the Lakers presently constructed now, we're going to talk about the Lakers' other moves that they had, against the Dallas Mavericks now, God bless Dallas. Luka's going to give them hell. Luka with LeBron, they will give Dallas hell right now. I'm telling you, Dallas better hope they don't run into the Lakers in this Western Conference in the playoffs, because they going to meet each other. They going to see. If they match up as a first-round playoff series, I don't know what, Luka might average 40, just for the fun of it. Luka was going to sign that contract. Luka wanted to be a Dallas Maverick for life. And you trade him. Couldn't be me. I would never trade Luka Doncic. The trade deadline's not over yet. We got 3 more hours left. We're going to see whoever else gets moved out in this deadline. The NBA is going crazy right now. But let's get into the next trade that happened yesterday. Jimmy Butler. Him and the Miami saga of them going back and forth with Butler and Pat Riley is over. Jimmy Butler is a Golden State Warrior. So the official trade was Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. So when I saw this trade, I've always rooted for the Golden State Warriors because for them, just like Patrick Mahomes was the reason why I got into football, Steph Curry really got me into basketball. Watching them and watching him in 2014, 2015, him lighting the league up from 3, watching what he was doing, I was hooked onto basketball. That was really what brought me to the sport like that. And love the sport dearly to this day. So I always root for the Warriors to do well. And I always root for Steph. So I always thought that Steph needed more help. And what the Warriors and I agree on. You cannot waste the superstar years of Steph Curry. Now, I hate to admit it, because Steph is one of my favorite players. But he's not MVP Steph. He's not the guy that's going to average 30 for you every night. He's not the guy that's going to go and bring you there every single night, night in and night out. He can do thin stretches. He can do it in the playoffs when it really matters most. He can lead you there, but he needs help. He needs help. It cannot be done by himself. And they needed something. They were hovering around 500 the whole year after having a great start. They went on a long losing streak and lost a lot of their games. Now they're around the 500 mark. They can't find a way to break even and go up into the rankings because the Western Conference is so stacked and so close. A 4 to 5 game winning streak bumps you up to the 4 or 5 spot, even if you're 11-10 in the standings. So for me, the Golden State Warriors are a couple pieces away with Steph Curry and the greatness of him, even after losing Klay Thompson. With Steph and Draymond, the way they find each other, the way the chemistry is, as long as they have those two, they have a shot. But to contend and be dangerous and actually compete for a championship, they're going to need more. And Wiggins, I struggle with this because Wiggins was really, if anyone, was the one giving Steph some help. Sometimes he would lead them in scoring. Wiggins, if anybody, was the one doing it for them. But they get Butler. And I understand the Warriors. You might not want to move on from Kuminga. He's still young. He has a lot of talent. He's a sky zone guy. He can play above the rim. The guy is a lob threat. The guy's uber athletic. The guy, if he gets a consistent jump shot, that'll make him even more dangerous. He has talent. And he's so athletic and so a guy that can really take off if he develops. So I understand the willingness not wanting to move on from him. But Wiggins was really producing for them. Wiggins was on that 22-2 run for them. Wiggins was the guy outside of Steph Curry that was producing for the Golden State Warriors. Some people thought he was arguably in arguments for Finals MVP in that series. So Wiggins is tough to lose. Schroeder, I never really found like he found his footing in Golden State for real. And Kyle Anderson he has his moments, but he wasn't nobody that was really that special for Golden State. So I don't mind this move, and I think they had to do something because the way the Warriors were going, they weren't going to go do nothing this year. And I don't feel like it could be a situation where, we can wait till next year. Steph is 36 in a couple months. You can't wait. And no matter how great Steph is conditioning-wise, and Steph is a very conditioned athlete, he never stops moving. Everyone that guards him says, hey, this guy never stops moving. He's always on the move, running miles and miles every game. But he's getting older, and that's going to get harder to do as consistently. Even for him, LeBron James takes care of his body more than anybody. And you see how great he still is. We got to give him some props right now. How great the Lakers are playing, even with all the trades going on, he's playing amazing. And that's because of how good he takes care of his body. But even we know this isn't Miami LeBron. This isn't prime Cleveland LeBron. This is LeBron doing what he can at the best that he can do, which is still great, but it's not enough to win chips. It's not enough to win intense playoff series with the elite in the game right now. LeBron is great. Steph is great, but they need help. LeBron has gotten it. Steph needs it. And Jimmy Butler might be that piece. And Jimmy Butler is older as well. He's 35 years old, which is why Miami didn't want to pay him. Because honestly, you can't blame Miami too much because Jimmy Butler is 35 years old. In a regular season, Jimmy Butler is not the lights out player he is in the playoffs. Now, you like that he elevates his game in the playoffs, but he's not that same player that gives you that 25, the 30, the 40-point performances that you see. He's not that type of guy in the regular season. But he is still talented and can still produce for a contending team, for a winning team. He's worth making he's worth making the try to go and get him. The investment. Because if you're the Warriors, you had to do something. What was going on right? And I understand injuries were a part of it. Kuminga was out for a while. Podziemski was out for a while. Draymond just came back. He was out for a couple weeks. And I understand injuries is a big part of it. But I think the move the Golden State Warriors made was not a bad one. It wasn't a bad one. I don't think it elevates them to their automatically a contender now. But I do think it makes them scary. Jimmy Butler and Draymond defensively, I like that. Their toughness in the locker room, I like that. I hope they can mesh. I hope they can mesh and see eye to eye. That's the only concern. But if they can, defensively, I think that improves them defensively immediately. Now, Wiggins was a good defender as well. And you can argue that Wiggins is younger and more spry and Jimmy Butler's on the back half of his career. But Jimmy Butler's experience, he's been there before. He's smart. And yes, Jimmy Butler might be not in his prime anymore, but he can produce for them. And it's easily the number 2 for this team. The definitive number 2. You don't got to question, is it Wiggins? Is it Kuminga? Is it going to come from their bench? He's undoubtedly their number 2. And I think that's a good thing. And I think the Warriors needed to make a stand and do something for Steph. They got a couple more hours to make more moves. They got some more contracts they can get off their books. They got some more picks they can trade. I would not waste the prime years of Steph Curry. He is still good enough to be the best player on a championship team if you build around him correctly. The best shooter that has ever touched the basketball. Get him some help. See what he does. So the Golden State Warriors that trade was solid. People say they're iffy about it. I think it was a move that I don't blame them for making. And as long as Butler comes with his mind right and he comes there focused and locked in defensively and on both ends and takes pressure off Steph Curry, I think that helps the Golden State Warriors in the long run. And especially in a playoff series. Especially. But they got to get there first. Now, back to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers pick up Mark Williams in a trade last night. So they pick up Mark Williams, and the Lakers send over Dalton Connect. They send him over Cam Reddish, and they send over a first-round pick. I can't believe Charlotte let him go. Now, I know Charlotte really ain't going nowhere. I get you. But you're trying to build towards something. Mark Williams, when he plays 25-plus minutes, averages 20 and 11. Mark Williams is 23 years old. That is a big you can develop and have for the next 5-10 years. The talent's there. He's an interior force. He's long. I've seen that he has a longer wingspan than Wembanyama. And we know how big that guy is. He can defend the rim. He's a good presence inside. He's a lob threat. He can finish around the basket. And he's only going to get better. With LeBron? With Luka? He's going to eat. And he's going to develop. This is a great trade for the Lakers. Great. Now, they did lose some shooting because Dalton Connect was easily the best shooter on the team. And they lost Max Christie, and they lose Cam Reddish, so they did lose some of their decent perimeter defenders as well. And I do think shooting and perimeter defense well, in some ways will come back to haunt them because Reeves is no defender. Teams go after him all the time. Luka, we already know he isn't a defender. LeBron, he will try when it matters to defend, but for the 48 minutes of a game, he isn't defending. You trade away your best defender in Anthony Davis. Listen, defensively, I don't love the Lakers, especially since the guys that are going to play heavy minutes are not defenders. But offensively, Luka and LeBron, the IQ of those two, they're going to make it work. With Reeves, the scoring that he can give them, the shooting ability he gives them. Mark Williams, offensively and defensively, what he can do at the basket. Because the Lakers really, after that trade for Luka, they needed a big man. And that can be their future big man for years in Mark Williams. I don't love them defensively. I think they can be scored on pretty easily. If they match up against Denver right now, Jokic is still eating them for lunch. But now you have Luka to match his output. Now you have Luka to match Jokic's output. And Luka's going to be motivated. He got traded away because people didn't believe in him. That's what happened. That's what came down to it. They traded Luka away because they didn't believe that he was worth the investment. If Luka comes back with an agenda, the Lakers can beat anyone with this roster now that they pick up their big man. They can beat anyone. I won't pick them against Oklahoma City Thunder, who, by the way, Chet Holmgren's coming back. He'll be back tonight. I wouldn't pick them against Oklahoma City Thunder. I think the Lakers can beat anyone else and maybe be even favored. Now, Denver is such a question mark because Denver, Jokic is a monster, and Murray in the playoffs, we've seen what he's done to the Lakers time and time again. But you just gave LeBron Luka Doncic. Anthony Davis wasn't stopping Jokic anyways. So maybe the answer is to beat the Nuggets is more offense. Because Anthony Davis was so great defensively, but Jokic still ate him every game. Destroyed him every game. So maybe the answer is more on someone that can match Jokic's output. LeBron's going to do LeBron things. LeBron's going to make the right play every time. LeBron's going to score for you. LeBron's going to defend when it matters the most. And now you have a roster that can do some things. Not great defensively, but when they're all clicking, can beat anyone in the Western Conference. The Lakers are for real now. They're serious. And I didn't say that when they just made the trade for Luka. I thought the season was a wash. When you get that type of level production big man, that type of young guy that is perfect for what the Lakers are trying to do, that's what they needed. And when you look at their team, a lineup of Luka Doncic at the 1, you got Reeves at the 2, LeBron James at the 3, Rui Hachimura at the 4, or interchange them both, whether they play 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. And Mark Williams at the 5. They still got Gabe Vincent off the bench. They still got Vanderbilt, the defender, off the bench. Their bench does get thinner, but now you can play Luka on the floor or LeBron on the floor at all times. The Lakers are scary and can be a real contender in the Western Conference. We got people on the move. We got people on the move in the trade deadline, guys. Listen, so just seeing this. So Davion Mitchell, the young defender, is going to the Miami Heat. So the Miami Heat, I think that's a great fit, honestly, because the Miami Heat have always been a defensive-minded team, and Davion Mitchell is a very nice, young, scrappy defender. Very nice. So I do like that for Miami. I do. And I think they're building a very nice defensive-minded team. With Mitchell, they still got Bam Adebayo over there. They get Wiggins in the trade from Golden State. I like the defensive mindedness in that team. And he's not too shabby offensively either. So Patrick Baldwin Jr. is also going to the Spurs. Little move right there for San Antonio. Another young guy that they can use in that roster. They also pick up De'Aaron Fox. We didn't even mention that, guys. De'Aaron Fox, and he played his first game last night, 23-13 last night against the Atlanta Hawks, and it's that Spurs win. I like De'Aaron Fox in a San Antonio Spurs jersey. I like it. Chris Paul's great. He's the end of his career. He's gonna help those guys. He's gonna help Fox. He's gonna help Vassell. He's gonna help Castle. He's gonna help lead all those guys in that point guard room. So he's a great leader for all of them. But I love the two punch in Victor Wembanyama and Fox. They are a great duo right there in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is looking very, very stacked. Very, very stacked. So I like that for San Antonio. De'Aaron Fox is an old at all. He's a young guy. Wembanyama has now a point guard that is a very elite scoring threat as well now. Take some pressure off of him. And the great rookie that he is, already the best defensive player in the game is Wembanyama, averaging over 3 blocks a game. This guy is elite defensively, the best defensive player in the game already, let alone how good he is offensively. So that's a good move by them. So Levine is in Sacramento. That move is like the Kings lose Fox, who I'm surprised they were going to trade, honestly, because I thought he was Sacramento. But you still got DeRozan, you still got Levine, you still got Sabonis. That team, you got some guys on it. That team is not no slouch. That team is still going to be competitive, and that team will probably still make the playoffs in the Western Conference or be fighting to get there. Sabonis is a very underrated player, very underrated. He's a rebounding demon, can score the ball in the basket, and is a guy that can really get the job done for you. He's a guy that you get a triple-double at any point in time. Underrated passer as well. Sabonis is a very good player. DeRozan, master mid-range. Levine, inside, 3-level scorer. The guy, that's a good team over there. Malik Monk is still over there. Keegan Murray's still on that team. The Kings are a good team. The Western Conference in general is really, really good. There's not a lot of teams that you can look at, say they don't have a shot. Now, the Pelicans are going to team looking to take a step back. They trade Ingram to the Raptors. So Ingram is now Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett and all them people all over Toronto. I don't mind the move, honestly, because I really feel like Ingram needed a new change of scenery than New Orleans. And I feel like because Zion can never, I thought Zion might have to go. He might have to be next because Zion is so talented. He was I think he was even more hyped than Victor Wembanyama. That's how talented Zion was. And he doesn't play. He does not play. And Zion Williamson, no matter how talented he is, he doesn't play. He's not the greatest rebounder. He's not the greatest defender. And Ingram is gone. I don't see why they keep him either. I think they blow this up. So don't be surprised if Zion's out the door. If not by the trade deadline, by next season. He does not play. And the Pelicans, Dejounte Murray's always injured. They might have to blow it up and restart again. And that's a really, really sad thing for the Pelicans because you think once they got the number 1 overall pick and they got Zion, you thought that with Ingram and Zion and they picked up Murray, that they had something going for them. That's quickly deteriorating. So a lot of trades right now, a lot of things are going on, and the NBA is going insane right now. It's very exciting. It's going to hook up for a very, very interesting second half of the season because all these people will be acclimated with their new teams. The playoff push will start to happen. Every game will become more and more important for every team. Between the Warriors, the Lakers are playing well. The Celtics are still on the top of the conference. The Cavs just got a buzzer-beating victory against the Pistons last night. Darius Garland, no Donovan Mitchell. Darius Garland hits the shot for them to win the game in Detroit. And then what about the Pistons, guys? They look good. They look good. They're a game or two under 500. But for a team that lost 30 in a row, I don't think you guys understood. The Detroit Pistons lost 30 in a row last year. And Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and Duran, and they pick up Hardaway, and they get Malik Beasley over there. That team has looked good, or at the very least respectable, especially Cade Cunningham. I'm so glad he made the All-Star team this year. So glad. And by the way, guys, I just want to get this out the way because we didn't really talk about the All-Star selections yet because they just happened as of recently. Can someone tell me how Devin Booker is an All-Star? Can someone tell me how Devin Booker misses the All-Star game? Now, granted, there's going to be some injuries, so there's a chance for Booker to maybe sneak his way in there as an injury reserve. But you're going to tell me Devin Booker, we're going to pull up his numbers right now because there's no way that Devin Booker is not an all-star, at least a bench player. Devin Booker is averaging 26, 4, and 7. And he's not an all-star? Jaren Jackson Jr. is an all-star. Over Devin Booker? I understand the Suns are falling right now. I understand that. But Durant's a starter. And Devin Booker can't even make the All-Star team? Really? Really? Devin Booker doesn't make the All-Star team. That's a travesty. I got to be real. Kevin Durant starts. Now, I understand Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the world. He's having a more efficient season than Booker. I understand that. But no way you leave Devin Booker off the All-Star team. A lot of people were upset that Trae Young didn't make it. Trae Young shooting 40% from the field. I'm sorry. I understand he's maybe the best playmaker in the league right now, passing the ball. I understand that. But the guy's not shooting the ball well. I understand he's 6'1" guard. It's tough. I got you. You can't shoot 40% from the field, almost 30, under 40% from the field, and think you're going to make the All-Star game. I'm sorry. And the Atlanta Hawks' success has not been that great. Booker's 45% from the field. Booker is averaging 26 a game, 7 assists, 6 with 4 rebounds. And he doesn't make the All-Star team? I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I love him. But you're going to seriously tell me he deserves to make it over Devin Booker? I'm going to pull up the Western Conference All-Stars right now because I don't understand for the life of me how this is possible. Because Devin Booker, the disrespect is really getting sad. Victor Wembanyama makes it. I agree with that. Jaden Daniels. Sorry, not Jaden Daniels. My bad, guys. Victor Wembanyama, Jaylen Brown. Sorry. Evan Mobley. Alfred Sengun. I get it. You know, you get Jalen Williams in there, a first-time All-Star. You get James Harden in there. Like, over Devin Booker? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not putting Jalen. I understand the success of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I get it. But no way KD starts and Booker doesn't make it at all. If it was up to me, Jackson Jr. doesn't make it. And Booker does. The Grizzlies look great. Jackson's having a great year. But Devin Booker, 26 a game? Really? Think about that, guys. Listen, guys, we talked about the trade deadline. We have a couple more hours of all these trades going through. We talked about Davis and Luka, that swap. Can't believe that still. It's ridiculous, but we got into that earlier. We talked about Fox and Levine, how Fox on the Spurs, Levine to the Sacramento Kings. We talked about Mark Williams on the Lakers and how that's a huge pickup for them, how they're so dangerous now because the one piece they needed was a big man, and they got a young, perfect big man for LeBron and Luka, a lob threat that can finish at the basket, can defend the rim, is long and lengthy, and do all the things that the Lakers need them to do. JJ Redick is coaching his butt off over there on the Lakers. They're dangerous. A lot of stuff going on in the NBA. And we talked about Butler, Golden State. We talked about all those things. The Super Bowl is on Sunday, guys. The Super Bowl is on Sunday. And I'm excited. You guys know I root for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes is my favorite player. And I am unbiasedly very excited for this game. Now, I'm going to give you my prediction for this game. I believe Kansas City will win the Super Bowl and three-peat. That's what I believe. No bias. I'm going to give you legitimate reasons why. This is my first reason why. To win one game, a Super Bowl, I think three things matters the most. The quarterback, if we put quarterback Patrick Mahomes against Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes wins by 6 trillion miles. An infinite amount of miles. You can't compare the two. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, I think, ever. Ever. Especially if he wins Sunday. But even if he doesn't, even if this game wasn't played, Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback compared to Jalen Hurts. And you only see elite quarterbacks most time than not in these situations unless their team is stacked like Jalen Hurts. Now, a little stat for you. The last 14 AFC title games was either Brady or Patrick Mahomes for the last 14 years. The best of the best usually play in those games. Unless your team is stacked. Hence, Brock Purdy, when he had Nick Bosa and Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, that offensive line over there, that defensive front, Kittle. Go to the Super Bowl. Now the Eagles, you have outside of Jalen Hurts, the best running back in the game, Saquon Barkley. A.J. Brown, a top 5 receiver. Devontae Smith, an elite number 2. You still got guys on defense. Darius Slay, big play Slay, been one of the best corners in the game forever. Quinyon Mitchell, one of the best young rookie corners in the game. This team with Jalen Carter on the defensive line, one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Zach Bond made the Pro Bowl. Look at their offensive line with Mariota, Lane Johnson, Dickerson, all pro people. Their center, Jason Kelsey, that left. Their center that was to replace him, and Jurgens, is a all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler. Look at the team surrounding the Eagles. So usually the best quarterback are in these positions unless you have a very stacked team. That's my point one. Number 2, coaching. Andy Reid, you can argue, is the best coach of all time. Now, most people will still take Belichick. I might even still lean towards Belichick. He wins Sunday, I'm not so sure. Andy Reid might be the best coach ever. Advantage coaching, Kansas City. Advantage quarterback, Kansas City. And the last thing, experience. The Kansas City Chiefs have been to 7 straight AFC Championship games. The Kansas City Chiefs live in the Super Bowl. 5 Super Bowl appearances in the last 7 years. 5 of them. They know what it takes to win. They've lost before. They know what it takes. Jalen Hurts been there as well. This is his second time in it. So he's been there. He has some experience. He has some time there. But Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have lived there. Jalen Hurts is just a second-time guest. The Chiefs have lived in the Super Bowl. Outside of those reasons alone, let me give you some more stats. In a game where weather conditions don't matter, whether in a dome, an inside arena, no weather conditions, Patrick Mahomes is 15-0. He's never lost. That's not crazy enough for you? Listen to this. The Eagles defensive coordinator, Fangio, is 0-7 against Patrick Mahomes. 0-7. You guys starting to catch on now? Advantage quarterback Chiefs. Advantage coaching Chiefs. Advantage experienced Chiefs. In these spots. And then here's the biggest advantage. If this game comes down to the wire, if this game is close, advantage Chiefs. The Chiefs have won 17 straight one-score games. The whole year, Kansas City can't win this way. It's going to catch up with them. They're not going to get bailed out every time. The Chiefs this. The Chiefs that. This is not sustainable. They won't make the Super Bowl. They won't get it done. This, that, the whole season as they continue to win one-score games like it's out of style. The Kansas City Chiefs know how to win at the end of the game. They've been there and done that time and time and time again. They've been in those moments under pressure. They've been in the regular season. They've been there in the playoffs. They're built for it. So if the game is close, advantage Kansas City every time. Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coaches in the league. One of the best defensive coordinators in the league, if not the best. You think you don't got something for Jalen Hurts up his sleeve after 2 weeks of preparation? Knowing that Jalen Hurts can be indecisive in the pocket sometimes, can sometimes hold on the ball for too long, can sometimes take sacks that'll hurt his team. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He's not great. He can play. He's not great. He has holes in his game that Steve Spagnuolo will and will exploit. Can and will. Guys, Travis Kelce just said it in an interview a couple of days ago. This is the biggest game of his life. The Chiefs are not settling. They've won back-to-back Super Bowls. Okay, this is not that serious if we lose. They're going for this three-peat. They're going for history. They understand what winning this puts them. They will be the one and only team. They will stand alone as the one and only team to ever do a three-peat in NFL history. They know it's on the line. And they're serious about this. And they're ready and they're prepared. Andy Reid has his team prepared every single week. They're even more prepared for the Super Bowl on Sunday. I'm not saying it's guaranteed Kansas City wins. I'm not saying the Eagles don't have a shot. The Eagles roster is one of the best rosters I have ever seen on both ends. They have the number one the defense, the number one offensive line, probably the best running back in the game. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are top 5 receiving core. They have everything in the arsenal to win and win this game on Sunday. Everything. But they don't have the Patrick Mahomes. They don't have Andy Reid. And those two have been able to turn the tides of everything anyone's ever said about the Kansas City Chiefs. Anyone's that picked the Bills, the Bills lost them 3 straight years. The Bills are bound to beat them this year. Nope. Lamar Jackson last year, it's his year. Nope. The Kansas City Chiefs, betting against them will lose you money. They've proven time and time and time again that this is the team to beat. And until someone beats them, they'll always be the favorite every single time. I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. If I had to give you a score, I say Kansas City wins the game. I think this will be a high-scoring game because it usually is. I think the Kansas City Chiefs win 28-24. Chiefs win. Three-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I honestly, I hate my friends that are Philadelphia Eagles fans because they root for this team and they make their team seem so much better than they actually are. And I would love to see their faces when they lose again because they think they're going to Broad Street afterwards. They think they're going to go have fun in Broad Street when the Eagles win. They think they're going to be. I'm telling you guys, the joy that you will see me back on Tuesday when I hop back on here and I have a show for you guys, the joy, you won't even understand. Listen, that'll be a whole show dedicated to the Super Bowl, the whole show. I got Kansas City winning. And because the GOAT's on that side, the best player I've ever seen, the best player I think to ever do it. And if he wins on Sunday, I want someone to argue me that he's not. But this has been Couch Potato Guys. It's 106 here at Kingsborough Community College. I've had a great time and a great show with you guys. The Super Bowl is Sunday. Watch it, 6:30. It'll be everywhere. Grab a TV, grab some family, get the popcorn, get the food, settle in, enjoy it. It's going to be all-timer. It's going to be all-timer. It's going to be one of the best. History will be made Sunday night. Take care, guys. Be safe.